Hi guys, we take here Blueberry Hill. So here we are. We're getting some paneling installed. Fantastic. So after a bunch of delays, we finally got the especially roofing guys to come over and start doing the second floor. I actually asked them to do that as a priority so I could start working on the dumpster pool pad, which is right below them. I didn't want to get in their way, so I basically this needed to get finished up so I could continue whatever later on. So I let them do all the back area before touching the base that I need to make for the dumpster pool. I'll show you a video of that, of course, later. So just a rundown. This is July 3rd. They're going to be here roughly 3 weeks. They missed a day or two, but no big deal. And it's been super hot, so they've been stellar and working. For the most part, it looks pretty good. There's a couple small trim things they still have to do, and throughout this video you'll see them getting more done all the time, of course. They roughly do a wall a day, a little more than that, depending on the heat. It's been all the way up to 106, 108 degrees, so it's definitely not a pleasant work environment. So they've been awesome to work that hard. So they were actually doing anything that was possible in the I call it the entertainment area. That's where the pool's going to be. They're doing all the soffit, and I think they completed the second floor paneling. I didn't tape everything, of course. You know, that'd be kind of boring to watch for the whole time. But anyway, they're cutting and putting in actual soffit material. What Jake and I did, and what they're going to do on the upper overhangs, is use the R panels as the soffit material rather than this soffit material they're using right now. We only did that in the areas that are low and like front of the house and in the entertainment area in the back. So here they're starting. This is the 10th now. I think we had some weather issues the past week, whatever. But anyway, here they're doing the paneling, finishing up the back part of this wall, the spare room, and starting on the blue paneling on the this bedroom area. That's actually kind of a living room area in our spare room, and they make pretty quick work of it. This was these containers are giving them a little bit of a challenge because they're not perfectly flat like if you make a normal wall, 2x or paneling, whatever. That'll be nice and flat, so they just rip it out and go. They had to work a little bit extra to put these things in the kind of dented containers, and of course all the windows require trim, etc. So a little more work for them. So it was really awesome to see them start putting all this stuff on this wall. They're actually doing the wall and the soffit as they move because the scaffold's right in place. You know, and they're working that's pretty high up there. It's I think they're like a 12-14 foot high area. It's not overly comfortable, of course, but we have two sets of scaffold. One of them's mine, one of them's theirs. So they're piecing that together and actually making it work pretty well. And obviously these guys don't care about the height. I'm not too comfortable just standing on one little piece like he is. But anyway, they're you know, they do this all the time, so they're comfortable. As I was saying, challenge on the containers. So they have a couple of spots where there's thick metal on the corners and in the door area, so they have to spend a little more time doing those. But this part kind of, I think it went pretty good. Their challenge was doing the windows and of course all the framing that goes with. But I think it looks fantastic when they were done. I like the white soffit with the dark roof and the overhang, and then of course the black trim on the windows kind of sets off the blue as well. So it's working for us. We really like it. We actually wanted a little bit darker blue, but they don't make it. Actually, in this manufacturer's color palette, they don't have a darker blue than this. We chose the darkest one they had. But anyway, we like it. So here's a shot. They're almost finished with this main wall. There you can see they're putting in the what they call it U-panel soffits. This is all the high overhangs get this soffit. It goes a lot faster because it's 3 foot wide. The normal soffit material is only a foot wide, so it takes a lot more effort to get 3 feet done. Basically 3 separate panels. Just more work. And here they're kind of continuing with everything as they move. So they slide everything in place and then they move the scaffold. So a bit of fun for them. And again, it's been very hot, so they're busting their chops there, making it all happen. So this little kick out here, I have my office is where you see the yellow container, and they're trying to finish up the spare room wall, and next they're going to switch over and start doing the blue on the wall you see facing us, or where the ladder is. The yellow container, which is my office, that container was really messed up. It's got a huge bow in it. It had a repair, and although the container guys, when we bought them, said that they would never give us a container because we're building a house with it that had a lot of patches and big dents, guess what they did? They gave us containers which had big dents and patches. I should have, would have, could have, if I could then, return 2 or 3 of these things, because they actually gave a job a little bit of a challenge to put the panels on. When they're bent, there's nothing you can do about it. We actually tried way back to Jake and I to straighten out one of the walls, and there's no way in hell to do that. You have to actually cut it and then let it spring into place and then re-weld it, and I wasn't going to do that. So anywho, it is what it is. It's too late to cry about it now, but if people are building container houses, just make sure you have, you know, nice straight kind of walls. There's a couple containers. The front of the house gives a job another challenge too. There's a good bow in it, so they've been messed up. But anyway, he's doing pretty good. Obviously, it takes a lot of time to cut, trim, and obviously hand the things off to the guys working up on the scaffold. So everything takes a little bit longer off the ground, but they're doing pretty good, and we're digging the result. So this area was also challenging for him because these are the doors for both these containers. This is a double wide container, that's what I call it. So these doors are thicker metal, and in order to make a transition from the, I'll call it an attic, the green panels, the zip, that's all attic space up there. And there's a kind of those where the bars lock in from the doors are hanging on the top and the bottom. So they did a nice cover on that, panel cover, trim piece, whatever you want to call it, to hide those. There was no way to, I wasn't going to sit there and cut them off because that'd be kind of a waste of time. So doing these kind of caps made it work out. And then they're putting that in, and it takes a lot longer for them to screw through the doors. I believe it's like, I don't want to say 1/8 of an inch thick, but it's pretty thick. The walls, on the other hand, are just normal. I mean, it's all mild steel, I think, but the walls are thinner. The doors and the ends of the containers are much thicker for, I guess, structure, etc. But anyway, they're moving along, looking good. So here's July 20th. A couple of the guys came in yesterday and did some of the J flashing on pretty much the front of the house. I think they have it on the windows. Yeah, you can see it around the windows. And then now Job and one of his guys is here to start putting up the paneling, and they pretty much did the most of the front. So that was cool. So you'll see in this part of the video, you'll see them snapping all the panels on the front. You can see the big funky dents and junk on the container here. But I think this went pretty well for him. Everything kind of hit itself. There's a good bow in the container. So if you look, I'll say it this way: if you look on the side of the container, you'll see that the windows are not the same depth in the holes that we made for them. That's because the container is not flat. So anyway, it's still it wasn't worth spending more money for like straight containers, because that would have been double or triple the price. So we, when we bought the containers, we got the well-used ones because they were actually very affordable. If you want ones that are very straight, one-time use or a couple times used, you're going to spend, in those days, 3 years ago, you would have spent $7 or $8 grand, sometimes even 10, depending on where you got them from. We did not pay that much at all. Roughly $2,100 a container, so well worth it. Structure was still there, and we cut a lot of them out, so we didn't feel like the need to buy the super straight containers. I know most people do that if they're building fancy schmancy homes. Yay, making pretty good progress. So they finished pretty much everything on the front. They have to do a couple little touch-ups on the corner. I think they have more trim to do, blah blah blah. But anyway, this took them a little bit of time. It was kind of tricky getting in around that door area. But anyway, yay. Yay, now for something completely different. Here I'm building the base for the dumpster pool. They're 2 weeks behind on delivering it, so it'll be first week of August. It's supposed to be here. I'm making this video, it's the 25th, so roughly a week. Anyway, you see me putting big rock down. That's all the rock that came out of the septic tank hole. We just stored it behind the house. Now I'm making good use of it. There's some pretty good large rocks. I'm trying to lock the ground down. This is a super rocky area, so I didn't have to dig down at all. In fact, it's almost impossible to dig down. But I scraped a little bit near the top here, and then I'm trying to make it level. I used my laser level system to see how deep I had to make it in the back, and it's roughly 2.5 feet drop off at the back of the dumpster. And I'm trying to make it as flat as possible, not have any crazy rocks poking out. And now I'm going to put a big base of road base down, small road base, and that's going to pack down hopefully before I get the dumpster. And I'm hoping it's going to rain so that it'll pack down even better. And sure enough, yesterday, which is the 24th, we got about 45 minutes to an hour worth of very good rain. So that's going to help for sure. And of course, I'm going to re-level it before I place the dumpster, probably the day before. And then when I get it, it'll be fun. Anyway, here see me putting a bunch of road base down. I love working on the Bobcat. It's fun. It's a fun machine when it's working. I discovered later on I had a coolant leak. I haven't looked at that yet, but it's been running really good. No problem with the coolant leak. It has enough in there. It's just when I fill it up, it pees out. So yay. Anyway, seems like there's always something going on with that one. But here I am. This takes me a little bit of time. I actually used almost a full truckload of road base. And you notice I'm going back and forth when I'm trying to turn. I'm trying to not stir up the road base with my tracks. So I'm trying to be nice to it, so I don't get piles of road base everywhere. So it might be really hard to see, but there's a pink string. I actually leveled it with the laser level system, and I'm going kind of like a thumbs view of how level it is. I'm not being too particular about it yet, but you can see the string there, and I'm trying to make it kind of to that height. It's not too critical on how high I make it. I just want to make it nice and flat. And with the Bobcat, you just I use the Bobcat actually to run down the stuff, pack it down, and I'm going to water it a little bit just to see if it'll pack a little better. I'm hoping it rains. Like I said earlier, this is the 22nd, and I squirted our puppy, and she ran through the window. She was looking at me, so I sprayed the window, and she took off scared. So anyway, just watering a little bit, letting it settle down, and then probably in a week I'll pack it down again and work on that. So meanwhile, the guys were here working on the front, finishing up the garage area, doing the trim work around the frame, etc. And while I was doing the Bobcat stuff, part of it. You saw the video of the Bobcat, so I had the video. I just split the camera time here and there. Anyway, they're working on the finishing up the front, which is great. The two guys were here earlier, and they were finishing up the overhangs right on the garage roof. So yay! They finished that a little bit ago, and then Job showed up to finish up the front of the garage, and they did a pretty good job on that. I love the look of it. I'm going to do a little rundown video of what the house current state is. Inside we're pretty much done. I mean, I'll say 99%. We still have a couple little things to do. Nothing serious, so I've been kind of putting it off a little bit. But anyway, I got to do, once they put the paneling on, I'm going to have to do some lights and stuff like that, which is great because we have no lights on the front of the house except for some garden lights, which are the rechargeable solar lights, and they're dying. They're 3 years old. So anywho, it'll be nice to have this finished. It makes the house look a lot different than it was. It's actually nice. They were working on this area later in the day. It's probably like 3 or 4, maybe later. So they were working. Actually, it might have been later than that. But regardless, when the shade's on this side, it's a lot more pleasant to work on it instead of getting beaten up by the sun. So it's a lot cooler. Anyway, they did a pretty good job on this. It looks really nice. They still have a couple panels left to do, and they still have to finish up the right side of the house, and I'll probably mention that in my rundown of the video. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to real time. I'm going to do a little rundown of the place, the way it's looking, and what we're doing. Appreciate it. Later. So let me show you what the guys have been doing with the paneling. You saw some time lapse of this, but let me do a rundown of the whole building. Love the colors. We did obviously a white soffit, and we're moving right along. We're using the white panels that came with the spare building that Bill gave us, and that's over here. This container was really messed up. It was dented really bad, so we decided to run horizontally, and because it was a compromise to do anything else. We couldn't put the panels in place without doing that, so they did a pretty good job. We still have stuff trim work to do, no big deal. Main stuff's up. Garage, of course, was one of the first things this side they did. Let me show you the front. It looks great. We love the color contrast and how it's looking. This is the final kind of finished product. We like the dark blue. I'm ready to do the wiring. We have the lights. I'm gonna put those up tomorrow. I have to buy some standoffs so I could actually put those in place. Then I got to do the vent over there. But anyway, this is what it looks like. Sorry about the camera. I'm gonna try to mask the sun out of the lens. The GoPro is frost pretty good when sun hits it. But anyway, that's a view of the front of the house. It's coming right along. The right side of the house over there is not touched, so they'll have to work on that. So tomorrow, Angie and I are gonna probably grab the big beams that I have from the building. They're gonna span the whole front, the area where the pool goes. I can put 4 of them in place. Maybe I should only put 3 because I have to move the dumpster in place with big forklift. So I have to rent that. You'll see that, of course, on the videos. That's coming on August 4th, like I said. But I can actually put in 3 of the main beams that cross between the containers. They're going to be welded in. I'm not going to do anything fancy. They're not going to need supports like posts. Just going to get welded right to the bottom of the big frame of the containers, and that'll be it. And of course, you've seen this beast working. Finally running pretty good. I have one little problem, like always. I think there's a coolant leak on something on the inside, one of the hoses. So it runs great, doesn't get hot. But if I fill up the coolant, it pisses out the bottom. Me no like, so I'll have to look at that. But anyway, here we are. Looking pretty good. Progress is being made. I can't wait to put the lights up in the back because it gets pretty dark out here sometimes. And you can't see anything. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk at you later. So here's the pad for the dumpster pool. It's roughly 2.5 feet off the ground. Back here, you can see all these big giant rocks. Those are all from our septic tank hole. You can see the rocks way down over there. So I got some good material. I put a whole bunch of those down. You saw the time lapse of that. They're all on the ground, and then the road base goes on top. It's mostly level. I still have to clean that up over there because I ran the bobcat on it, so it turned it up. That's always the problem with that, but no big deal. Just have to use a shovel and make it level. And then, of course, it's coming in 2 weeks. So whether I level it today, I'm gonna have to touch it up probably when I get the dumpster itself. Make sure it's level every which way, and then throw the dumpster in place with the giant forklift I have to rent. Another chapter. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate the support, family and friends. The journey's coming to completion. It's actually been interesting. I'm sure I'll have rundown of the whole process and summary of monies. I won't give you the monies per se, but it's pretty good. So overall, we're happy. We're coming to the point where we can actually relax with the pool and have a cold beer. Yay. Anyway, laters.